Hello everyone, in this video we are going to build a GET API and test it out. In the last video we have seen how to create a MongoDB account, how to create a MongoDB databases, how to fetch the Mongo URI. We are going to use the Mongo URI as an environmental variable to give our PyMongo client access to our MongoDB data. So first thing what we are going to do is open our AWS Lambda function, go to code, in here go to configuration, go to the environmental variables. Okay, in the environmental variables click on edit, add an environmental variable mongo underscore URI. That is the key, and the value is what you fetch from the MongoDB client. Okay, this you will get from the MongoDB as shown in the last video, and click on save. Now we have configured our access to MongoDB. Okay, now go back to code. In here we need to write a code to serve our individual API gateways, that is get API, create a data in MongoDB API, these APIs. Also we need to create an API gateways corresponding to this code. So whenever you call particular, let's say HTTP request for get, HTTP request for post, when you call these APIs, it will call the particular function associated with that. Okay, so first thing what we want to do is we have to write the Python code. Instead of writing the code, I am going to directly copy from my GitHub. Please open this link, github.com/foo lambda CRUD. In this there is a file called lambda function. Copy the entire code, paste it here, and click on deploy. I am going to explain the code in detail. Deploy it. Alternatively, you can also copy the code into your VS Code. Okay, save it and zip it and deploy it using the zip file. This is easier, so I am showing this. Let's go through the code once. Okay, first is import JSON OS, because we need to import our Mongo URI that we have just set in the environmental variable. Then import the Mongo client for connecting to our Atlas, MongoDB Atlas from the PyMongo. Then import the dumps from the BSON and object ID, dumps for converting Python object into the JSON format. Then we are going to connect to our MongoDB using the Mongo URI. We are going to fetch the Mongo URI from our environmental variable. Then we are using the Mongo client that we have imported from PyMongo to connect to our MongoDB. Then we have to mention your database name that we have created. Whatever the name you have given to your database, you can just insert here, and the collection name inside the database. Okay, now we are getting the instance or a connection to the particular collection. Then we can fetch the data, we can insert the data, update the data, delete the data based on the request. Now our default function name, that is AWS Lambda handler. In here we are going to create a method, that is first let's say get method. Okay, first method is event.get. In here, in this event object, it will be mentioned what is the method, HTTP method or what method it is mentioned in the event. We are going to get the HTTP method. If the HTTP method is get, or if it is the post or delete, depending on that, we are going to execute our function. Let's say first, for example, our HTTP method is get. That means we have to fetch the details from MongoDB and show it to our users or clients. If HTTP method is get, documents equal to list of collection.find. The collection object, we are using the find method in the collection object to fetch all the details and convert it into list and inserting into the documents variable. Then we are going to output this response, right, somehow. So what we are going to do is we are going to build a function called build response. This is the function. It takes two inputs, okay, arguments, that is the status code, that is 200 if success, and the documents that we are going to output. The build response function, okay. So build response function, where is it? Okay, here. The status code and the body is our documents. We are going to return the status code with the header of application JSON, content type application JSON, and the body. The dumps, what it does is it will convert our Python object into the JSON format. Okay, because our output should be in the JSON format. So it will convert the Python object into the JSON format because our format is in the JSON. This is our simple get method. Similarly, next is post method. In the post method, we have to insert our documents. There are two type ways to insert a document. One is single insert, another is multiple insert. In here, first we are going to load the event, that is body. Whenever you want to insert a document, you have to pass some values, right? That's a key value pair in the JSON format. If I will show you how to do this using the Postman later on. So using the create function, we are going to create entries in the MongoDB. Okay, that is the output. Then after creating our entries using the build response, we are showing the output, whatever the output written by the system. Next is patch, that is the update method. Next fourth one is delete method. These two methods take an ID because we cannot delete the entire collection or the data in the entire collection. In here, we have to reference the path parameter and the ID. The ID will be the object ID of individual data or individual entry. We can see in the MongoDB, there is an ID, unique ID for each and every entry. We have to reference it and get the item ID. Using this item ID, this is we are fetching from our URL. Okay, this is from the query parameter. You are fetching the path parameter and the ID, and we are going to delete the entry that is matching with our ID in the MongoDB. This is the item ID here. If it is matches with the ID in our MongoDB, we will delete that entry from our collection and we will output that it has been deleted. This is our simple function. So I have to explain one more again. Create function. I have shown you there are two methods. One is single entry, another is multiple entry. If this is for create entries in the MongoDB, if the data exists, if there is no data to enter, then it will throw an error. So if only if the data exists, then what we will do is we will check if the instance of the data is in the list, and if it is a list, the length of the list should be greater than one. That means there are multiple data sets to insert into the database. Then we will be using insert many function of the Mongo to insert our data. If there is only one entry, the list length is not greater than one, it may be a one. Then we are going to just use the insert one function. Okay. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to create the get API and how we are going to test using the Postman. Thank you.